Hello everyone, in this video I'll be explaining on the conclusion of general microbiology. An infection is the invasion of an organism's body tissues by disease causing agents, their multiplication and the reaction of host tissues to the infectious agent and the toxins they produce. Infection occurs when viruses, bacteria or other microbes enter the body and begin to multiply. And disease occurs when the cells in our body are damaged as a result of infection and signs and symptoms of an illness appear. So there are various types of infections which occur. All those different types of infections which occur comes from a type of source, and the source from where each type of infection occurs are broadly classified into endogenous source and exogenous source. Those infections which occurs from inside the patient's body or arising from an infection that are agent that are already present in the body but previously asymptomatic are called as endogenous infection. And disease can occur when microbes included in normal flora enter a sterile area of the body such as the brain or muscle. So this is considered as endogenous infection. Endogenous means endo means inside, right? So an infection that is occurred from inside the body itself or mainly from the normal flora or the organisms which are normally present on various parts of the body. When these organisms enter an area where they are not supposed to be or enter an area where it is sterile, then it will cause infection. And infection that is occurring from outside the person's body or not from the normal flora, then those are called as exogenous infection. And this exogenous infection can occur from various sources, either a human or a carrier. A carrier is a person who harbors or carries the pathogenic microorganisms in their body without showing any signs and symptoms that of having the microbial infection. Next, it can be also from animals who harbors the microorganisms or the animal infection which can be transmitted to human. And then it can also be transmitted from the insects either mechanically or biologically. Mechanically means when the insect carrying the pathogenic organisms on the surface of the body and then depositing it on the human skin when during their blood meal. Or and then biologically means the pathogenic organisms undergoing a certain stage of development inside the insect, and then this pathogenic organism get deposited at the site of puncture site done by the insect in their during their blood meal. Next is uh, soil or water. When the soil or water which are contaminated or the food which gets contaminated with the pathogenic organism from the patient, then from there infection can be transmitted. Those are also exogenous infection. This various type of infection from a particular source, they will enter a person's body or they spread through various mode from the source. So what are those? The mainly those of five types: aerosol, direct contact, fomite, oral, vector, and congenital. In aerosol, it occurs when a person's inhaled during inhalation, when they inhale the respiratory droplets containing the pathogenic organism, then they get the infection. Respiratory droplets containing the pathogenic organism are expelled out during coughing, sneezing, or talking by the patient. Direct contact is when a person come in contact with all direct contact with all those materials which are being infected by the secretions or products of the patients. And then oral. Through orally, it can be transmitted. The infection can be transmitted through consumption or ingestion of food and drinks that have been contaminated with the pathogenic organism. And the food or drinks can also be contaminated from the feces or urine of the patients. Next is fomite. Contaminated inanimate objects like the door handle, clothings. So it can also transmit the disease when a person come in contact with all those contaminated objects carrying the pathogenic organism. Vector-borne is an insect acquires a pathogen from one animal and transmit to another either mechanically or biologically. Next is congenital. Some pathogens are able to cross the placenta barrier and infect the fetus in utero through perinatal and postnatal.